Colorado State University at Fort Collins, and especially to be here at the College of Business on an important day when they have dedicated or opened up the expansion of Rockwell. And I am very excited about being here, and first of all to see this wonderful building, but then to have the opportunity to talk to students this evening as well as members of the community, some 8,000 strong, I hear. I know Colorado reasonably well. I was stationed at Fort Carson a number of years ago, so it's always a pleasure to be back in the Front Range. So I'm pleased to be here. Be delighted to take whatever questions you may have. Who'd like to start? The United States will always be in a position of global leadership. We are the nation that people still look to for inspiration, for innovation, for moral leadership, for political leadership. When you look at the great groups that are working right now, whether it's the G8, the G20, NATO, even the European Union that we're not a member of, nevertheless we work very closely with the European Union. America still is the leader, and people always look to the United States and to the President of the United States. Right now, I think that we are coming out of a difficult recession that has occurred over the last several years. And I think what the President has done has stabilized the financial system, and now we start to see the economy turning back around, and you can see the impact in communities across America. We will not be through the recession until we've dropped the unemployment rate and people are confident again to start spending. But other countries have had difficulty, and you can see the difficulties that Europe is now having, particularly with the situation in Greece, Portugal, and probably Spain. And so I think America remains the global leader and will always be the global leader to a large extent, even with the emergence of other leaders in the world community. I think America will still hold a position of #1.
As far as diplomacy, sir, as it pertains to situations such as Iran, North Korea?
Well, the President followed the policy that was established by President Bush with respect to Iraq, and the drawdown is continuing. And the Iraqis are now sorting themselves out with respect to the kind of government they wish to have. And so I think that's working rather well. So I think the President continued the policies of President Bush, and they're working. In Afghanistan, he faced a situation that was deteriorating, and so we had a surge in Afghanistan. A large number of additional troops were put there under the leadership of General Petraeus and General McChrystal. And ultimately, Afghanistan has to be solved by the Afghans. They've got to come together, put in place a non-corrupt, functioning government, and they've got to deal with the Taliban. So I think he's made the correct choice there for the moment. Whether it all works depends on what the Afghans do. We'll do our part. The Afghans have to do their part. So I think that's worked reasonably well. On Iran and North Korea, the two difficult issues, I think ultimately they will be solved diplomatically. I don't think either one of them is going to result in a conflict or a war. Nuclear weapons are terrible things. I've been associated with them my entire life, and I'm a great proponent of arms control, reducing the number of nuclear weapons. I've been privileged to help negotiate a number of treaties that have reduced the number of nuclear weapons in our arsenal, and hopefully the day will come we get rid of all of them. But at the same time, my experience with nuclear weapons tells me that they're not really usable, because the consequences of using one and what it might bring down upon you makes it almost suicidal in the case of countries like Iran and North Korea. Nevertheless, we don't want them to have such weapons. We don't want an accident. We don't want them to slip out of somebody's control into the hands of a terrorist who would not be so constrained. And so I think the President's working on both of those issues, Iran and North Korea, hard, but they're tough, and they weren't solved in the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm not sure when they will be solved, but I think he's taken the right approach to them. And then the Middle East is the other area that has been rather demanding, and I think the President is hopeful that indirect talks can get started soon under the leadership of Senator George Mitchell, and hopefully we can see some progress there. But these are not simple issues. These are really, really tough issues that haven't been resolved in recent years and will take time to resolve. But while we worry about these issues, there are larger issues out there that I think we have to handle. Our relationship with China, our relationship with the Russian Federation, our relationship with India, And these are mostly economic issues as opposed to security issues or issues of war versus peace. I'm glad to be discussing economic issues and economic disagreements rather than disagreements that result in war. But I am a business graduate. I have a Master's of Business Administration from George Washington University, I can say proudly. And so I'm pleased to be in the College of Business here at CSU and to speak to some business students this evening. Business is the institution that drives this country. It's the institution that drives our economy, if I could call it an institution. And if we are going to recover from our recession, if we are going to continue to help the rest of the world, to spread wealth around the rest of the world, not just for wealthy people, but wealth that creates jobs, wealth that allows a society to rise up, wealth that allows people to move into the middle class, well, that isn't just the role of government. It's not the role of nonprofit organizations. It is the primary role of people who can create industries, who can create service industries and manufacturing industries that give people jobs. Jobs are what people need. And in the developing world, increasingly, particularly as people came out from behind the Iron Curtain or the Bamboo Curtain or out from totalitarianism, what do they want? They want jobs. They want to create wealth. They want BMWs. They want flat-screen TVs. They want health care. They want better education for their youngsters. And what's fascinating is as countries become political democracies, they realize we'd better become economic democracies in order to show our people a better world. Hundreds of millions of people in the last 10 or 12, 15 years have risen to the middle class in the world. More countries living under democracy than ever before. And the engine that pulls it successfully is an engine that invests in economic growth, creation of wealth, and bettering the life of the average person. And therefore, colleges and universities such as this that teach our next generation of leaders how to be successful in business and how to create that wealth are as important as any other academic